Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast. Come for a drink, but stay for the speculation. Are you ready? We're discussing virtual reality, or perhaps just reality. Either way, we may have gone down too many rabbit holes with this episode. But enjoy. You need a drink or two of the real stuff. This is the SciFi Pubcast. Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the pubcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. And I'm looking around, who do we have in the bar today? We have Carrie Simpson. Say hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Great. How's your day been, Carrie?
sorry, I'm a bit punchy right now. The caffeine's finally kicking in.
Lovely. It's just going to be a matter of moments before I break out the scotch by the looks of it.
Oh dear.
And
we've been.
Yes. And we have Derek Beebe. You there?
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Derek.
Right. And Derek, how's your day been?
Been pretty good.
Okay.
I'm maintaining.
Excellent. And
Still don't sound very convincing, Derek.
And of course, we have a return staff member. Yes, our writer in residence is sober enough to be with us today. It's Rendell Graham. Hi, Rendell.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me again. I always love coming to the bar.
We miss you, Rendell. You know that. We love you.
We dusted off your bench at the bar.
And I am drinking a Sazerac as we record this, the granddaddy of all cocktails. Very excited to be having that.
Very nice.
Wait a second. A what? A Sazerac?
Sazerac.
What's that all about?
It's one of the original cocktails. Some people say it's the first official cocktail recipe ever conceived. It's whiskey, absinthe, bitters, and sugar.
Interesting.
Nice.
We really need to get together and have like a real life sit down so we can experiment with all these cocktails.
Yeah, I actually like being a bartender more than I like drinking. So I try to foist my booze on other people, and it's a lot of fun for me. So if you get here, then I will tend bar and give Joel a break.
Yes, it sounds like you're just a terrible host. Okay. No. Okay. All right, and I'm Joel Welch. I'm kind of like the guy who produces this show and owns the bar, and right now I'm kind of on a fitness health kick, so I'm actually sober. Yeah, it happens.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but before we go on, before we get into the topic of the show, Derek, how's the good old kitchen doing?
It's great. And in honor of our virtual reality topic, we have the red pill, blue pill burger sliders. The red pill is hamburger tartare, and the blue pill is also hamburger tartare, but the fuzzy stuff all covering it is blue. You can pick which one you want.
Right.
Don't confuse it with your other blue pills, Joel.
Oh, God, I know. My life's always up and downs, terrible.
Nice.
I wasn't going to go there, Rendell. Thank you.
Yeah, have no
Just
fear.
stay behind the bar, Joel.
Yeah.
Right. And talking about virtual reality. Okay. Yeah, we're doing a show on virtual reality. Are you ready? Because Ready Player One just hit the movie cinemas a week or two, maybe 3 weeks ago. And, of course, the book Ready Player One has been around for several years now by Ernest Cline. And I thought it was a good idea just to explore what we mean by virtual reality and what are some of the issues in that subgenre of science fiction, and go from there. How does that sound, guys?
Sounds great.
Sounds great. It sounds a little bit meta because here we are in a virtual bar discussing virtual environments in worlds that don't actually exist.
He has a point.
Yeah. We could be just living in a one huge simulation.
Simulation?
Simulation.
Simulacrum.
Yeah, exactly. Which opens up a whole can of worms about ethical and morality questions. Is that if we are, just a simulation, how does that, how does that affect concepts like morality? God, let's get philosophical right off the bat. What do you guys think?
And what if the only thing that we're perceiving are shadows on the wall of a cave, and not the source of light itself?
Well, then it's time to get out of the frickin' cave.
Yeah.
This is why I love you platonically, Derek.
Okay. Let's wind this back in. So, virtual reality. I did do some research for this show. Sorry, life's been busy. I did actually find the definition online because it was so difficult to find. So we have the Merriam-Webster dictionary defining virtual reality as, and I quote, an artificial environment which is experienced through sensory stimuli, such as sights and sounds, provided by a computer and in which one's actions partially determine what happens in the environment. Also, the technology used to create or access of virtual reality. Now, this definition is kind of, I know, restricted, but it does bring into play certain aspects of what we mean by virtual reality. Because I think this term is so used generally nowadays that it could mean almost anything. But I think it has some sort of tech spin to it. So it's not like, typically in a story or in a movie or a film or a book, when there's some sort of change in the world setting where you fall down a rabbit's hole, or you go to the back of a wardrobe, I should say, or you enter some sort of portal. Virtual reality, there's a portal, but it's technological based. What do you guys think of that?
Sounds cool. Sign me up.
That works for me.
Okay. And
Can't be worse than reality.
oh, we'll get there. Okay.
Well, for me, I mean.
Oh, why is that? Okay, Derek, why?
You want me to go into the details of my life right now?
Yes, it's just you, the bar, and anyone who pays attention, and we're not even charging you for your therapy. So,
well, I know if I go into the Matrix, there'll be a beautiful woman in a red dress walking by and smiling at me.
yes, that happens to me all the time.
Which is more than I could say here.
It's interesting you actually bring this up because with virtual reality, why is it so appealing to people? I think that's quite an interesting question. Again, philosophically, I can't talk today. Philosophically, because it's popular. It's popular in films. It's coming online more so for the general populace. But why do we like living in other people's lives or in environment where we can have more impact?
Well, for me, it's an extension of our interest in narratives generally. I mean, we like to read books and immerse ourselves in those worlds. We like to watch television and movies and immerse ourselves in those worlds. And the appeal of virtual reality, I think, is that it's the total sensory immersion within someone else's narrative structure. So I don't think the general appeal is any different from our desire to enjoy a novel, enjoy a TV show, enjoy a narrative presented in a movie, or an opera, or what have you. I think that the reason it's so appealing, though, is because you finally get to sort of fully live the dream in the sense of being completely immersed in that story, to actually occupy a position of a character in that story. So you get to actually be part of the narrative, which is sort of a funny full circle moment, because instead of sitting in real life wanting to just read about a narrative, you immerse yourself in a narrative such that it becomes just like going out and actually having an adventure. And you're doing that instead of really going out and having an adventure.
Yeah, it's like choose your own path, if you remember these books from the 1980s. But so much more involved.
Absolutely. And I'm the first to admit that the appeal of virtual reality is quite massive for me. I mean, I like to immerse myself in stories, but I know we'll get to the topic of holodecks later on, but I would be, completely vulnerable to the possibility of holodiction that they have in Star Trek, because I think the idea of spending time in a holodeck would just be fantastic. Like I worry about virtual reality getting too good, and a lot of us bailing on real reality.
Okay, Mr. Barkley.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's neat. Can virtual reality do what, say, Westworld is doing with androids and inherent physical control devices, and checks and balances that way, which of course fail because that drives the plot in Westworld.
Well, would you say that in Westworld it fails by the androids becoming self-aware, or is that the failure there, or what are you talking about?
Well, I think
failure?
I think that's it, right? Okay, because you have the creation that turns on its creators, but they do that because there's this idea that humanity is wicked. humanity will always go to the worst possible places when given an opportunity, at least much of humanity. So virtual reality, think about that. Like, how popular is that in the porn industry? Tons. Right?
Okay,
Whereas someone like maybe I want to pretend I'm on the bridge of the USS Enterprise. But that speaks a lot about me. But I don't think everyone out there is going to want to be a bridge officer on the USS Enterprise.
I take it.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. Well, it's like, my mom always tells me that she thinks that I have a very bad sense of reality, and my argument has always been, I actually have a very good sense of reality. I just happen to think reality sucks, which is why I play video games
Yeah, exactly.
and read books.
Yeah, and is it a distraction? Absolutely. Is it
Yes. Both.
both? Yeah. Is it escapism at some level? Yes, of course. Is it beneficial? I think so, because it makes your brain actually work. You get confronted with different stimuli that allows you to connect dots, so to speak. From like video games to reading to film. That's what art is supposed to be about. That's what it's about. But if the art is too good and you do not want to leave the virtual reality or the story that doesn't exist in our physical realm, I think that could be a problem for our own reality of humanity.
True, but how? Okay, so you guys have all seen Ready Player One by now, right?
I have not, sadly.
Oh, have you read the book at least, Randall?
No, but I know the gist, including how the whole thing ends. So
Okay, well,
I'm not worried about spoilers.
Yeah.
This isn't really a spoiler, but as a couple of characters pointed out in the movie, and I think also in the book, if I remember correctly, the real world was the only place to get a decent meal.
Nice.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that if virtual reality is all about the senses, right? Okay, it's kind of hard to incorporate taste, even in Ready Player One, without some sort of real world aspect to it. Sure, you can do the sights, the sounds, you can do the touch, even the smell. Good old, was it
Smell-o-vision.
Yes, of course. How could we possibly get that? But taste is kind of hard.
Yeah.
I would argue
until we do have holodecks and they can make crumpets. Yeah. Although that's been an argument on a couple of the other podcasts I've listened to. Is like, were they really eating or were they not?
Shout out for the Moriarty Pulaski reference.
Yes. Thank you. Anyway, you were saying there?
I would argue that the appeal of virtual reality is a metaphor for religion, in that real life is random, capricious, and ultimately unsatisfying. So the allure is escaping to a world that actually does have a guiding hand, a designing element that gives it meaning and purpose.
Well, that depends on the religion, though, because
Yeah. Well, I mean, just the general sentiment of going to a world where things do matter and someone is in control of everything in the end.
Interesting. You're right, because there has to be some sort of structure there. Chaos theory doesn't work well when it comes to technology.
Yeah, because somebody had to build the virtual world. Even if it does have emergent gameplay from there was someone that created it in the first place with a purpose and a reason. And there are rules in the virtual world until they, get broken.
But even when they're broken, there's still rules of a sort.
Yeah.
What's the role of death and mortality then? In virtual reality, you can die, but you can come back alive. You just hit the reset button, which
also speaks to religion as well.
Yeah.
Well, but again, that depends. Oh no, actually, reincarnation. Never mind. I was going to say that depends on the religion bits, because I think it was Nietzsche who wrote that Christianity promises a better life after death, and Buddhism makes no such promises, and therefore isn't held to the need to make good on those promises.
Yeah, I could see that. But I think when we say religion, we mean less the Christianity aspect of it and more just the search for meaning.
Yeah.
Right? And you can incorporate, deistic religions. Humanism is big, right? It's the whole thing is what gives us meaning. And now we're into this whole existential business, which of course I always go down. I live in that rabbit hole. So.
Yes.
Randall, you want to weigh in on this?
Well, yeah. I mean, the religion thing. Way to bring things down, Derek. Saying virtual reality.
That's what I do.
The only way to have a world where things have meaning. I mean, that just made me sad. I turned to my drink after that comment.
That's why Joel shouldn't ask me questions about my personal life.
Come on.
But I sort of went down my own rabbit hole when we were talking about virtual reality as an escape from the real world, because I think about this in terms of when we play video games and immerse ourselves in a fictitious world that way. You're still in the real world, right? Like you're actually interacting with other people who are playing the game. The virtual world is not separate and apart from the real world. It's just another experience within the real world. So I don't look at it as escapism any worse than looking at reading a book, looking at playing a video game, looking at watching television. So I don't really think of it quite the same way as Derek does in terms of it being a pseudo-religious experience or an equivalent of religion. I just look at it as, I guess it would depend on how you're using it, but I generally look at it as just inserting yourself into a story.
Good point.
What about this, Randall?
But I do see Derek's point.
Yeah. What if we change this up slightly, and instead of some sort of technical interface where we can then use to share the same world, say we are giving some sort of controlled substance, a drug, and this drug has special powers where if we all take the same drug, we all end up in the same dream state. How would that affect things, if it does at all?
Sign me up.
See, that would be quite the trip.
As long as I don't have to put it in my rabbit hole.
Oh, God.
Wow. Oh, wow. I did not need to go there. Okay.
Okay, that needs to go on a t-shirt.
No. Please don't put that on a t-shirt. What I was going to say is that even if we're all given the same drugs affect the same drug can affect us all differently as well, because someone may not affect them at all.
I don't really see a difference in a delivery system between a drug or a computer. It's kind of the same result in the end.
Yeah, I guess we have to define some terms here. Like if we're talking about virtual reality, are we talking about a virtual reality environment in which you know the entire time that you are in a virtual reality environment? Or are we talking about one that fools you into believing that you are actually in reality when you're in virtual reality?
So
because
if
you're in the kind that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say...
If you're in the kind that fools you such that you believe that you're in real reality when you're in virtual reality, what happens if you die in that environment? Would that have a psychological impact on you when you're brought out of the virtual reality environment? Would you die, in fact? Yeah, a lot of the different texts and sources that we're going to be talking about today, I think, draw a hard line between virtual reality that gives you some control and some awareness of the fact that things aren't as they seem, and virtual reality that tricks you into believing that you are actually in the environment that is being virtually created for you.
So if I went to sleep tonight and someone came in and hooked me up to a machine, and I woke up thinking I was still in my bed when really I was in a pod somewhere, if I didn't know the difference, how would I know that I was in a virtual reality?
The red pill.
It's
you
the
gotta take the red
Matrix.
pill.
That's right. It's the Matrix vision of virtual reality versus the holodeck, right?
Right.
With the exception of Ship in a Bottle, which was the holodeck episode where Moriarty
Or the holodeck
made a
in the
holodeck within a holodeck.
Yes.
So when everyone left, they still believed they were they believed they're in the real world when still they were in virtual reality. But that's when things really start to bake my noodle, is when you think about not being able to perceive whether or not you're in the real world or in a virtual representation.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, as long as your physical body is never in harm's way, then philosophically speaking, it doesn't really matter whether you're real or fake.
Well, it depends, right? I guess what can cause harm to your physical body, right? Like if there's a sufficient shock to your system in the virtual reality world, and like it's neurologically damaging such that slip into a coma, you pass out, something that would have, like, you see something that's so horrific that it psychologically damages you. Are you at risk in the virtual world? This is one of the things that always bothers me, and I keep jumping the gun and going into Star Trek here.
No, please do.
No, this is good.
Why are safety protocols even a thing on the holodecks? Like, how can you disengage those? That is not something that should be allowed to happen.
In case the Borg wander into it and you need to kill them.
You need to go Dixon Hill and shoot them all up. Yeah, but that seems like a remote contingency.
Well, but consider how often the safety protocols don't work.
Absolutely,
or
they should
malfunction. I mean, that's basically the central theme of every holodeck episode ever.
Well, I think it's more a question not that they choose to not have safety protocols, but that if you're dealing with hard light holograms, it's just a matter of, at what intensity is it dialed to. So the fact for the technology to exist, period, has to mean that it has to be capable of tactile touch, which means that it would also be capable of harming you to some degree. So for the technology to exist, period, it has to possibly be harmful, which of course they take steps to prevent.
But yeah, I think that the command disengage holodeck safety protocols should always be met with the computer saying, no, that's stupid.
But the whole thing too, what is safety? Your physical safety or your some sort of ethical or your moral standing? I can see how, in Star Trek, it's the Federation imposing its own concept of community standards on the people on board the starships in the holodecks.
I think it also requires officer level permissions. When the safety protocols aren't malfunctioning. That is.
Well, Joel's point also raises the interesting issue of we're talking so far about holodecks that are found on starships, and then we move into the more morally ambiguous world of holo suites. The holo suites found in Quark's bar.
Oh, yes.
I was just thinking that. I hesitate to go down Randall's rabbit hole, but in Quark's holosuite, can you buy a program where you murder people over and over again? And what would that do to your psyche? You would, kind of like lose all sense of reality and start killing people in the real world.
I don't think they ever actually addressed that.
Yeah, they mostly just use it for orgies, I think.
Well, people do kill in the holodecks all the time. I mean, we saw the Klingon exercise program. Right, the Klingon calisthenics. He's killing guys all the time.
Yeah, but I mean more like creepy serial killer murder kind of thing.
Yeah,
or murdering representations of real people. Right, like going in and saying, "I'd like to murder Colonel Kira."
But killing, wanting to murder Kira is one thing. Wanting to take Skeletor's head off every morning, that's something else.
Unless you're particularly good friends with Skeletor.
True.
But it's interesting, like going back to the whole idea that humanity's wicked. I don't mean that in the fallen Old Testament type of way. I'm just saying that humanity, there's aspects of it where we have individuals who will do bad things no matter what. And even if you have safety protocols on this type of technology, someone's going to hack it. Somehow it's going to get out to the general populace or people who can actually afford to pay for it in the black market. And I'd say if your thing is snuff films, well, I think that's a bad thing. I think from a social policy point of view, that's really bad. But how do you police that? So,
if only we knew anyone who knew anything about policing.
Moving on. Pornography. Okay.
What?
And the other thing, and I know, Randall, you mentioned this to me offline, but it's the whole economics of the holodecks and the holosuites. If everyone is addicted to virtual reality, who does the work in real life?
Yes, someone's got to maintain and channel energy to those holodecks if holodecks were going to be a thing. I do think that unless you made holodecks particularly expensive, holodecks would be such a massive problem. I mean, why go out in the real world when you can just make everything nice? Why go out and experience anything real when you can just replicate that experience? Why bother, traveling to France if you can just say, okay, create Sandrines as they do in Voyager and go hang out in some nice place in France. The incentive to go out and achieve anything is minimized when you can replicate the sensation of achieving things.
Does everyone remember the Futurama episode about why it's illegal to have sex with robots for this exact reason?
No.
They had this kind of like 1950s public service sex ed type film about how, like, you know, Johnny can just have sex with a robot, so why does he try to do anything? And he just kind of like dies on his bed making out with the robot woman, and that's why society falls apart.
It's always these
Well,
evil
and
robots.
for those, go ahead, Joe.
No, it's always these evil robots. But go ahead.
Yes, it's always the robot's fault. No, what I was going to say is for you guys who've read Ready Player One, that's something that I know I've been discussing with other people that they never actually address in the book is, you know, who's taking care of, you know, the basic needs of society while everyone else is stuck in the oasis.
Energy needs to be produced. Food needs to be grown and processed.
I mean,
there has
it's all
to be
done by drones?
Yeah, or artificial intelligence.
I thought everything was done by robots and drones and computers.
See, they never actually talk about that.
Well, don't they mention that they're in the middle of this big economic depression and nobody has any jobs, and that's why everybody's in the oasis, because they're all, you know, jobless. There's no jobs to be had, and they're just living on basic.
Basically, I think the basic premise is that the economic downturn of like '08 never turned around.
Oh wait, didn't they say though that they solved like world hunger, and that's why everybody's in the oasis now, and that's why the economy has shifted to a virtual economy because the basic physical needs of the world are being met now?
I don't remember that part.
I kind of remember that. I wonder if that was in the teaser trailer for the movie, because I remember like the actor saying that in a voiceover somewhere.
That might have been in virtual reality.
Hey, do they have global warming in virtual reality? You know, it's these issues that we can't control by being virtually in another spot. Okay.
Well, they have volcanic planets in virtual reality, so I don't see why not.
Yeah. And of course,
So what are people's favorite examples of virtual reality in science fiction?
Tron.
Matrix.
That's a great movie.
What?
Original Tron or reboot Tron?
Yes. Because okay, seriously, I think I've said this before. You know, I realize that there are flaws with Legacy, but come on, they turned Kevin Flynn into the Zen master of the internet. What's not to love?
Yeah, I love the original Tron, and I also really love Tron Legacy. I mean, there are plot holes, but I thought that movie was amazing. The production design, the music, the story, the acting, the battle scenes, everything was just great.
My only complaint with the music, and I mentioned this to a friend of mine after I'd seen the movie, was that I was kind of hoping for at least a couple of callbacks to the original soundtrack.
I don't really remember the
Daft Punk
original
is good.
music.
That's because I had to wait 20 years for the soundtrack to be released.
actually, I liked the color scheme in Tron, the whole blue and red on the black. These are great
everything just looks amazing.
cyber colors.
Yeah.
So that's Carrie's favorite iteration of VR. Do you have a favorite, Derek?
I said Matrix.
Oh, Matrix.
The Matrix. And I'm one of
Joel?
those crazy people that actually loves well, I love the second movie, not so much the third movie.
I like
third
all
one gets a little bit
three
weird.
to varying degrees.
Yeah, I think they get a little bit worse each time, but I still don't mind the third movie. I love the first one, though.
Yeah.
I think with the exception of the rave scene, the second movie is really, really good. And it's kind of the perfect sequel in that it expands on every single concept and character in the first movie. And the first one just feels so small and cheap in retrospect. You really get a whole new world of the second one, especially with the whole reincarnation angle of this is the 6th time we have destroyed Zion and we have become exceedingly efficient at it. I love that revelation. That was so cool. That they were trapped in a karmic cycle, repeating over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Although I also wondered if the architect was lying, just to.
I don't think anything he said was a lie.
I don't think anything. I go back and forth with it. Either he wasn't lying and it really was the 6th iteration, or he was lying just to screw with Neo's head. I haven't fallen on either side yet.
I choose to believe that a truly mechanical intelligence would not be prone to deception, that it would only deal in ones and zeros, that he was kind of like the cold intellectual counterpart to the Oracle.
Yeah, but even androids can lie. Witness lore.
Yeah.
I just say beware the trickster. The trickster is always going to be in storytelling. So
Yes.
yeah, the unreliable narrator or the unreliable source of wisdom. Yes, question everything. Use critical thought. Yes, I'm on my soapbox right now. I have to buy a lot of soap. But,
And so while you're on your soapbox, do you have a favorite
I do.
example of VR and sci-fi?
I do. And I'm going to go back to a novel from 1984. Not that novel from 1984, but Neuromancer by William Gibson, the granddaddy of cyberpunk. It's been a while since I reread this book, but it's so influential. You see its influence on everything from Blade Runner to even The Matrix. And it's hardcore cyberpunk. So you have the whole dystopia between technology and its impact on society. And you have the whole hacker, punkish type attitude and just struggling with everything in that noir environment. And I think that's is how I see technology happens, in the sense that yes, technology can bring us good things, but there's always going to be a dark side to it. If it's Frankenstein's creature versus is it Zuckerberg's Facebook, there's always going to be something negative that goes with technology. At the same time, we need technology to progress in order to solve real world problems, such as food supply, such as global warming, such as 1,000 different things that if we are going to get out of, if our species are going to get out of our problems, we need technology. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly on the book choice as well. I loved that book. I haven't read it since first year undergrad when it was assigned in my Intro to English course.
So you
Professor Ian Balfour.
So you were 13 or 14?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was 6 or 7. I absolutely loved that book. And yeah, it is so important as one of the sort of founding documents of all of science fiction. It's tremendous.
It's on my bookshelf, but I actually have not read it yet. I still need
You
to.
will love it.
Yeah. And
I
really,
Is it
based on-
is it very dark and morose? Is there any humor or lightness at
Well,
all
it's-
to it?
It's no darker or more morose than you today.
oh, and William Gibson, he's 70 years old right now, but he's very active on Twitter. Go follow William Gibson. He lives in Vancouver, and he doesn't back away from politics. I can tell you that.
Oh, terrific. I will do that.
Yeah.
So he's Canadian?
I think he's dual, so he's like me, but dual citizen, so Canadian and American.
All right, he's bi, like Joel. Got it.
Nice.
I don't.
So my favorite iteration of science of VR and science fiction is much more specific and less important than any of yours, and that is just I love Vic's bar, Vic Fontaine in Star Trek: Deep Space Nine. And one of the
I
reasons
hate
I love
Vic Fontaine.
oh I love him, and one of the reasons I love Vic's bar is that it's a bar within a bar that we're now talking about within a virtual bar. Which is crazy. Like, why would Quark have a program that has a different bar in it?
Yeah,
so
but
that's
why
weird.
would you want the competition?
Yeah, and although people have to pay him to go in there, so it makes some level of sense. But secondly, Vic Fontaine is played by James Darren, who is this like heartthrobby type guy in the 1950s. And I loved his voice so much that like my go-to dinner music at home these days is his album, This One's from the Heart, which he recorded in 1999, sort of almost as Vic Fontaine, James Darren's album. And it's terrific. So though, in terms of VR, that it has an impact on me as a practical matter, I listen to that album at least once or twice a week. And
Wow.
So that has had a lasting impact.
Nice.
But in terms of just full-on fun and enjoying the notion of VR, like what genre of VR is my favorite, I have to stick with the holodecks of Star Trek, even though they make almost no sense about half the time.
Okay, Randall, if you could design your own holodeck program or experience, what would it be?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a bit of a cheat because I'm just riffing off an episode. The thing that really struck me. A, it makes no sense, and B, it was an awfully fun episode. I don't know if you recall the Barclay-focused episode of The Next Generation, The Nth Degree, where Barclay was, his intellect was modified by the Cytherians, this alien race, and they gave him an IQ north of 200, and he was able to modify the holodeck such that it created a neural interface, allowing him to control the Enterprise and essentially travel anywhere in space and time that he wanted.
And it almost killed him, if memory serves.
Absolutely. Well, extracting him from it would have killed him until the Cytherians were able to reintegrate him. So, yeah, if you can have a holodeck that allows you to modify your brain in such a way that you can travel the whole universe at a thought, then, sign me up. But in terms of less grandiose aspirations, I love the fact that you can go on the holodeck in Deep Space Nine and, play a game of baseball, or you can live in a holo novel. If you recall Tom Paris and his whole Captain Proton series, which some of those episodes were terrible, but the idea of holo novels, I just love, right? I want to go be a player in a story that I enjoy. If there was a holo novel of, any Terry Pratchett book, sign me up. I would be in there, playing the role of whatever character I felt like playing. That idea is really appealing to me.
Yeah,
I guess as long as I steer far away from the luggage, I would totally want to go adventure through the disc. Sure, I'm thinking more about I would love to take over the holodeck and go battle dragons in Skyrim or something. But yeah,
it's interesting to me how often the VR worlds in Star Trek in particular are used. Not even for action or adventure, but just for pure relaxation. Like one of the longest running holodeck shticks in all of Trek lore is the community of Fairhaven in Voyager, the little Irish town, where you basically just go sit in a pub and hang out. The very first introduction of the holodecks, or as they called it then, the rec room in Star Trek the Animated Series, the Practical Joker episode, they just went in and decided between a beach or a forest that they wanted to walk along. Again, that's all they were using it for. It wasn't anything as grand and glorious as, battling a bunch of Klingons or having an adventure that you couldn't have in real life, because they were living in an environment where you're constantly beset by danger and engaged in real adventures. And the holodeck was there just to chill, which is sort of the opposite of how I think most of us with our mundane lives would use that sort of technology.
Well, and plus, if you're on a 5-year mission, the gray walls of the Enterprise can get kind of boring. So, not everyone gets to go on the away missions, nor should they, because lots of people get killed on those away missions. But also, not everyone gets to go on shore leave. And depending on what planet you go on shore leave to, that's also a very perilous undertaking. So.
Yeah, safety and coziness is what you seek.
A nice walk on the beach even if it's a virtual walk on the beach sounds rather nice until the holodeck tries to kill you.
Yeah.
Also, these are supposed to be the idealistic, perfect humans who don't suffer through anger or jealousy or economic want anymore.
Although once we get to Quark's holosuites, I think we realize that human depravity is still a thing.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, Randall, I want to be in like a Wes Anderson film. Okay, that would be my holodeck experience
with lots of tracking camera shots.
Yeah, with me, with Bill Murray and the gang, and some sort of quaint, wacky storyline. Oh, I love that. Okay.
You wouldn't be allowed to smile or laugh, though, right? Or really show any emotion at all.
It's all about the scene. It's all about the interface. It's about the absurdity. Okay.
Everything would be symmetrical, and every once in a while you'd have to just suddenly run away from the camera.
Absolutely. That or Star Wars or Indiana Jones. I'm a simple man, really, at heart.
Speaking of Star
favorite
Wars,
go for it.
Pretty soon there's going to be that Star Wars hotel open in Disney World, which kind of is a virtual reality in that you're going to be pretending that you're on a starship or something living in the world.
See that? I mean, I like the concept, but that seems too
exhausting.
No. It seems kind of, if their goal is to get people to the parks and get people to go out and explore the parks, giving them a reason to never leave the hotel sounds like a bad idea.
Well, the perks
Yeah,
would
but
be
the cost of those rooms are going to be so astronomical.
True.
They're making their money, believe me.
Yes, but again, if you have a 4-night stay and you're spending, if you have to spend one night or one full day exploring the hotel, that's one day you're not exploring one of the parks. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
The other thing
only
though is
asked me
that
about this.
you're still buying expensive food in the hotel, and better yet, you're not riding on the expensive to maintain rides that have massive operating costs. So
True.
you're lowering the crowd level of the park, where it costs them so much more money to have you there, versus the cheapness of just being in a hotel with a few cheaply paid 20-year-old actors.
I got a solution,
I
guys.
forgot who I'm talking about. I'm talking to the cheapest person I know.
I got a solution. It's called virtual reality. Disney needs to spend money on virtual reality.
Well, so that we don't leave our house, we just go there virtually?
Yeah, so it's an exchange, it's a transaction done electronically, and so they make money and you get what you want. That's will be perfect.
That could work.
I am going to talk about Star Wars: Secrets of the Empire, which is a virtual reality gaming system by The Void. But because I experienced that when I was at Disneyland, downtown Disney, about 6 weeks ago, and it's something else. I can tell you guys that. But before I go down that specific rabbit hole, Randall, you mentioned Star Trek: The Animated Series.
I did.
Yeah, you said, and you told us before we started to record that it has. It's very significant on this concept of the holodeck.
Yeah, it's most fans acknowledge that the episode "The Practical Joker" is the first hint that there is holodeck technology on in the Star Trek world, because they have a room on the Enterprise in that episode called the Rec Room, where they go in, and it's a huge room with white walls, and three of the characters walk in. They walk up to a panel, and they select what they want the environment to be. And at first, they turn it into a beach, and McCoy says he doesn't want a beach. He wants to walk in the woods. They then turn it into the woods. The computer glitches. It turns into a blizzard. They have to walk in a straight line until they can find one of the walls of the holodeck, because you can't tell where the room ends. It's very much the holodecks that we encounter in The Next Generation, which throws everyone for a bit of a loop, because when we first encounter holodecks in The Next Generation, it's an encounter at Farpoint, and Riker can't believe the technology. So the notion that the technology has been around since the original series throws people off a little bit. Counter argument to that is Gene Roddenberry, of course, himself, has said that the animated series is not canon and nothing that happened in that series really happened. But if you've been paying attention to Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, you'll have noted that in one training scene, they use holograms. They use a holodeck to simulate fighting off a bunch of Klingons. So it seems like the animated series might be becoming canon again, in the sense that holodeck technology has existed in Starfleet since the time of Captain Kirk.
Well, okay, so I get to continue on your tangent. I understand that Gene didn't actually say that holodecks, that the animated series was canon, but they took a lot of Spock's backstory from the animated series. They took the concept of a targ from the animated series. They've taken stuff from the animated series before, so it's not like they haven't mined that for stuff that they could use. And yeah, anyone who was bitching about holodecks on Discovery, or I think there may have been one in one of the JJ Trek novel movies, needs to go back and watch the animated series, because they've been around for a while. And even before that, there was the start of the holodeck technology introduced in Enterprise.
Yeah, on alien ships.
Yes, on an alien ship. Probably where
Absolutely.
they got the idea.
Well, and I do think that the writers of Discovery have been mining the animated series quite closely. I mean, just little subtle things like the reference by Michael of the fact that her mom used to read Alice in Wonderland to them. And in the animated series, Spock mentions that his mom used to love Lewis Carroll.
Yes.
So they've clearly watched all the animated series episodes. They probably mined all of Trek just to get cool little Easter eggs to pop here and there. And yeah, the holodecks, if you believe that the animated series is a source from which you can mine other references. That seems to be the direct inspiration. The animated series is the direct inspiration for holodecks, and that's where they got the idea from. So
Right.
the animated series. I don't recommend sitting down and watching it, binge watching, because
I do.
painful.
do.
I found it to be a painful experience. I got through about 6 episodes before I needed to take several months off. But I did rewatch the episode in which holodecks were introduced, the Practical Joker episode today, and it was pretty good.
My only issue, I mean, other than the animation, which was, it's from the 70s, so it's Fanimation, I think. So it's really, really bad and cheaply done. But
I'm
my
also from
biggest
the
issue,
70s, so tread carefully.
So am I, technically. So am I, technically. But it's like I always had to skip the opening credits because the opening bars of it always sounds like the opening bars of YMCA, and I can never figure out which came first. So I'm like, did Star Trek steal from the Village People, or did the Village People steal from Star Trek? What's going on here?
Maybe some of each.
Probably some of each.
I sadly have yet to see Star Trek the Animated Series, but don't all of the original actors put their voices to it?
Everyone but Koenig, yes.
Yeah, Walter
Cool.
Koenig didn't get asked, and every extra, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but not much, almost every extra character is done by James Doohan.
Or Majel Barrett.
Yeah, Majel Barrett does a lot too.
But Walter Koenig did write an episode, which was that one was kind of fun. But with the ginormous Spock.
Wow. Makes you want to go out and live on like a virtual Star Trek world, which you can probably do. It's probably out there somewhere.
Well,
Well,
there's the Star Trek Online game, which I have not played, but I hear from various podcasts I listen to, which is rather fun.
And as we've discussed, I get 1 week of virtual Star Trek World in January
Yes, you do.
So
on the cruise.
are they actually going to rename the ship to like the USS Enterprise or something like that?
No, it remains called the Norwegian Jade, but they do change the nature of the restaurants on the ship. I think the Thai restaurant or whatever it is becomes a Klingon restaurant for the week that we're on it.
Oh wow. That's precious.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay.
What do they rename the pad Thai like Gach?
That's exactly what they do.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that should be a riot.
That should be fun.
Vacations. Everyone needs vacations.
So yeah, how immersive does an experience have to be before it qualifies as virtual reality? Like playing World of Warcraft. That's not virtual reality. I mean, you're looking at a simulation of a 3D environment, but would we count something like that as VR, or do you need a helmet or a holodeck?
Well, that's the thing. Minecraft or Second Life. If it's just your senses, but you're using your sight and you're using your hearing, your surrounds, right? So it's 2 of the 5 senses.
My personal definition of virtual reality would be that you can't see anything outside of the program. So, like, you can't see the real world at all. All you see is the fake one.
How about...
I like that.
Yeah. Hey, guys, do you know about Second Life?
I do.
Yeah.
I only know it from jokes on The Office with Dwight.
It's still around. Check it out. It's been going for 14 years now. And people,
Yes, I'm aware.
And it's funny. I know several years ago, I've heard this is more of a story than fact, but I've heard like the New York Times actually sent in a reporter for like 6 months to live in Second Life to do news stories in that world. And then, it just didn't catch on. So the newspaper yanked the reporter back to real life.
Aww.
Wouldn't that be a cool gig? And I'm not sure it was New York Times or it was one of these types of horror and newspapers. And speaking of vacations and escapes, let me tell you about my virtual reality gaming experience with Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. You guys ready for this?
Very excited.
Yeah.
Go.
What it is, so it's in downtown Disney. There's one in Orlando and there's one in, I think, in London, England, that is, where you pay your $30 or $40 and you go in. And it's like it's a half-hour experience. And it's timed, but you're into the game for maybe 15 minutes. and they actually set you up in a full rig. So you're wearing this chest with the helmet, and throughout the interaction, you're giving actually a gun. Throughout the simulation, you pick up this real gun that actually shoots, not in real life, but in this world. And they run you through this, series of boxes. So you can't see the boxes. They have handlers there to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself. But so you're actually physically walking or walking fast or ducking while being in this world. And it's excellent.
That's pretty cool.
So the mission was that you have to go and check out this Imperial spaceship because they have some sort of cargo, and you're on an intelligence gathering mission. And so you have to sneak on board. You get burnt. It starts into a firefight, and then you go from there. So you have stormtroopers shooting at you, and you're shooting at the stormtroopers, and a couple of the main characters puts in an appearance. It's really neat. Now, I've done some virtual reality stuff before. I did the ILM thing they had in London, England at one of the celebrations about 2 years ago. It was really cool. But this is the best virtual reality I've seen so far. Literally within about 10 seconds, you are sucked into this world because they propel you there with a sense of urgency. Suddenly they flick a switch and you're into your mission and you have to act. And suddenly you're getting shot by stormtroopers, and so your vest is kind of like shaking a bit. So it's amazing how the technology is there now, where you can suspend your disbelief. Is it perfect? No, but this is the way of the future. And you look at it, you have Star Wars: Secrets of Empire. It's done by The Void. The Void, from what I can find online, is a subsidiary of Lucasfilm, which is a subsidiary of Disney. So you have major media companies investing in this. And then you have other companies doing this, like Oculus Rift is one of the major ones. Hey, I went to the movie theater last night, and I live in Canada, in Ottawa, and I went to the Cineplex. And Cineplex has their own little VR thing going on that's happening in Ottawa and in Toronto, where you can go, and it's a side little cinema, and you can experience VR there. And they have their own little storylines going on. So the VR wave, I think, is going to hit us heavy in the next couple of years. That's how I see that technology being rolled out.
Now, is it incredibly expensive?
Secrets of the Empire, I think, was like $36 or something. As for the Cineplex VR thing, I don't know. I didn't price it. But I'm sure it's going to be within the same ballpark just to let people buy into the technology. Oh, the other thing is The Void has a different one, not Star Wars. It's called Ghostbusters. It says the Ghostbusters Dimensions. It's quite cool, too. I haven't done that one, but it's another opportunity to go and play in a world where you get to experience stuff. So it's not only the 360 with the goggles, it's just the whole rig where you get to move through different rooms in real life. So it's getting there. It's getting there, and it's really cool.
Neat.
That sounds like so much fun and so much Star Wars. I might actually spend the money for it.
You should. Next time you go down to Orlando.
Whoa, stop
Disney
the presses, guys. Derek wants to spend money.
Yeah, I no longer believe that this is real reality. We've crawled up Derek's rabbit hole.
Oh, God.
No. Randall!
That's a bit hairy. Okay.
Randall, check to see if your cat shakes itself twice in a row.
Yeah, that's true. That's the test.
All right, that's all I got.
My issue with virtual VR as it becomes more commonplace in like the home and stuff is I'd be afraid of getting startled or something, like just whacking my arm against a wall or something, and suddenly flinging everything off of my coffee table.
Yeah, I think that's going to end up happening. But hey, you can take out insurance.
Well, Carrie, that's why you should do your VR playing in your kill room, where it's just duct tape everywhere and plastic tarp.
I don't have a kill room. What do you think?
You don't?
What kind of person do you think I am?
Who doesn't?
Oh, God.
Remind me never to go see Derek, guys, because I might be in fear for my life.
Yeah, Derek won't spend the money on that. You'll be safe. So
Okay.
okay. Any last thoughts, guys?
Go see Ready Player One. It was really cool. And
It
read the
was.
book.
Yes, do that too.
And download James Darren's album. This one's from the heart. Vic Fontaine.
Right. And my little takeaway is go read William Gibson's Neuromancer from 1984. It's a classic go-to science fiction book that will help you understand the larger genre of science fiction.
Does the technology hold up by today's standards?
Well, it is fiction, so go
right.
from there. Okay.
And watch Star Trek and watch The Matrix.
Great. So we're closing. So our end outro, you could say SciFi Pubcast Twitter. You can follow us on there. Our network is When Nerds Attack Podcast Network. They're on Twitter at Nerds Attack Pods. Of course, we do the Facebook thing. Of course, we want you to leave a positive iTunes review, or was it Apple Podcasts? They've changed their name. I really have to update my show notes. You can always send us an email telling us how you like our show or don't like our show, or complain about Derek's cooking in the kitchen. Our email address is management@scifipubcast.space. Carrie, what's your Twitter handle?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42, which is also a Star Trek reference and a Hitchhiker's reference, all rolled into one.
That's precious. That's cool. Okay, Derek, what's yours?
I am at Derek J. Beebe.
Cool. And Randall?
I'm at Randall_Graham, which is not a Star Trek reference.
It's a graham cracker reference.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I'm at Joel_Welch, WELCH, like the grape juice. And yes, of course, our When Nerds Attack Podcast Network has a Patreon account. Go check them out. Support them if you can. And that's all I got. You guys, last chance to say anything. Pause.
Crickets.
Pause for applause.
Okay, guys, it's closing time. All right, dear listeners, thank you for showing up and make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.